All right, testimony time. Now, I've been struggling big time. I really have. I'm still struggling, man, but I'm gonna try to do the best that I can do, and to trying to make you cry. No. Nope, I've got a super testimony. It's time for me to get it out. It's time for me to send it out in the world, and I really hope that you enjoy. I also hope that you don't judge. You know, it's a lot going on. It's got both sides of both worlds, and it's a mess that turns into a glorified straight pack. You know, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I honestly think that's what we were created for, was to have a testimony. He wants you to have a testimony. He wants you to have your own story. And it's not that I've like built mine, it's that I was looking for it. And when you're looking for them, you end up naturally creating a story for yourself. It's not a fictitious story, it's a story that you can share. Yeah? So to keep your story bottled up, you're actually going against God's will. So, anyways, here's my story. Um, I don't know why. I don't know why I chose the path of drugs, but I did, and I never thought that I was gonna become a heroin addict. Not once, you know. Um, so for what it's worth, I've got a beautiful, beautiful story. I shouldn't even be here. I shouldn't even be living. I should be unalived, or the D word, if I could say that, but I shouldn't even be here. So you're talking to a dead person. So much has happened. So many people have died. My goodness, so many people have went to jail. So many people have went crazy. Um, so many people have just lost their way, you know. And luckily, I'm one of the few that have found their way back. If that is if you can understand that. And so, uh, always kind of I always kind of believe in God, you know. Now we all have those questions that, faith questions that, am I doing the right thing? Am I me believing in God? Is that the right thing, God? Well, why don't you ask God? Why don't Instead of asking God first, you have to believe in Him. He's alive. So that communication that you have is like a forever communication. Okay, so when you're when you're having faith questions, right? Just treat Jesus as if He's alive, please, because He is. He's in the room with you. He's right here on this mountainside with me. About the only mountainside in Virginia Beach, but I'm sitting on a bunch of trash, and so it's called Mount Trashmore. Interesting. You figured that they would have planted a bunch of trees out here, but it's a little toasty without trees. So it's just a bunch of grass. Anyways, off topic, testimony. Uh, so I chose the path of drugs because I, I, I just didn't have anything good to believe in, and I wrecked my life so much, man. I wrecked it more than a couple times, you know. 4 years ago, 4 years ago, I was homeless, with cigarette burn holes in my shorts. Just, I didn't know where I was going. I had nothing. I had nothing, bro, but me and Jesus. Hallelujah, because that's what it takes. Yeah, for me, that's what it took. So hallelujah, that uh, Jesus knew that I needed saving, even when I didn't even know it. That's how amazing Jesus is. Because when you look back, you're just like, lots of stuff to look back on. You know, that's why they tell us to stick to our testimony, because it is the power of your testimony is very strong, very strong. It runs demons off. I don't even feel any demons right now, like, you know. So, testimony, man. I shouldn't even be here, man. There's been many a times I was laying on the bathroom floor, just on the last leg of life, right? And I honestly don't even know why I'm still here. You know, um, there's been more than a couple times I've woken up to ambulances tapping me on my shoulder saying, "Hey, you all right?" You know, um, I've caught in charges with the law. All right, I've been at one point in time in my life, I was wanted in 2 states. Probation. Man, I was on probation for 8 years, I think. I was doing heroin for 3 years until the street decided that they wanted fentanyl, and so I was trying to find fentanyl, but it just wasn't. I mean, heroin, but it just wasn't working, and even I'm just glad I'm quit, because even now they have something stronger than fentanyl, which is crazy. And that's a whole different world, whole different topic that I know all about. I'm like a walking pharmacist. You know, I know what you need, brother. I don't know. I'm not. No, 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 no. I'm not like a walking pharmacist. All right, far from it. I'm like a walking drug test, right? I know exactly. I'm really good at it. I know exactly what drug people are on, how much they've used of it. Uh, I know how long they've been an addict for, and I also know how they can cure it. So it's just a lot. There's a lot to tell you in my testimony. Sorry that it's dragging out for so long. You know, there's a lot to cover. It really is. Um, so me being clean and all, I and alive. My goodness, I ran off my whole family and friends. You know, and I didn't even really have any friends. I think that's why I kind of resorted to uh, Dr. Uggs, you know? So I never really had it together. And I just, so when I found Jesus, I was locked up, you know? I was at the end of my road again. Actually, this is the first time, you know? But when I found Jesus, I was locked up, and in jail, you get tired of finding stuff to do and learning and doing that stuff and this stuff. You just get tired of playing solitaire or spades or whatever it is. You know, you just get tired of all of it. You know, the only thing that doesn't get tired in jail is reading the Bible, believe it or not. Everything else is just, you know, I'm just tired. I don't want to do it anymore, man. You know, I want to read the Bible. But so I started reading the Bible, and I started with the New Testament, and I started with Matthew, right? And you know, with Matthew, it started getting good. My ears started perking up a little bit, right? And by the time I got to John 15, I promise you, John 15 saved my life. No, Jesus saved my life, yeah. But reading John 15, it was like a light bulb. Bing! I got it. What have I been doing? So John 15 is called the vine dresser. Uh, it It's just an amazing, amazing verse and chapter. So the whole chapter, John 15, man, it's what you're missing. I promise. I promise. I put that on my life. You read John 15, you're gonna be like, what? Yes, I hope. That's what it was like for me when I was in jail. So got out, did my own thing. I was doing my thing with Jesus for a while, but in my heart, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to become a Christian, and I don't know. It's just I didn't want to become good. I guess I don't freaking know, and so I don't know why I wasn't ready. I guess I still just wanted to do drugs and do my way, and my way wasn't that good, you know? It just, my way was bad. Let's just say that. I ended up stealing from stores just to try to feed my habit, and though I've always had a good heart, I've always had a good heart. I never stole from anybody. Um, I've always had a good way about myself. My decisions were horrible, you know? I need to stop saying, you know. I know. I'm working on it. But, so I got out. I was doing my thing. I was going to church. I found a church. I was loving it. I was living in North Carolina, Elizabeth City, North Carolina. And I was living in a halfway house. And I ended up relapsing at the halfway house that I was living in Elizabeth City. And so, I don't know if you know this, but whenever you relapse or do anything against the halfway house rules, you have 24 hours to grab your stuff and go. They don't care where you're gonna go, you just gotta leave. And it's kind of good to be like that, because now it's like, hey, it's all on you, If you end up at a halfway house, you ain't got nobody holding you up, I mean, yeah, they let you in and all that, but if you're in a halfway house, brother and sisters, all you got is yourself, okay, and Jesus. But for some people, they don't see it like that. But I ended up relapsing, and I had to get out. All right. So this is when I started walking and turning away from Jesus, because I just wasn't ready, and I had all my clothes in a briefcase, and I was walking down Elizabeth City. This gets a little emotional for me, man, because I have been through it, bro. And so walking down the street, and I'm talking the ghetto. This is the ghetto, brother. All right. And I think I had like $5 to my name, and some black dude hollered, "Hey!" Not that his skin color matters, it doesn't. But some guy, he said, "Hey!" Yelling at me from across the parking lot, "Come here!" I was like, okay. You ain't got, maybe this guy can help me out with a place to stay. I don't know. So, I ended up sleeping behind a dumpster that night, by the way. I just made so many horrible decisions. I had $5 to my name, yet I give it to the guy to go get some crack. And if he runs off, man, whatever. Right? So I give him $5, and he comes back with a $10 rock. I was like, this is like the most honest crack dealer I ever fucking know. I know. This is the past. This is the now. I've changed many of decision-making skills, okay? So now I'm homeless, high on crack, wheeling a suitcase around, and with nowhere to go. And there was this church that I guess was remodeling, and they had a dumpster out there. So that night I kind of curled up behind the dumpster, kind of slept on some clothes and stuff, and it just it is what it is, you know. But never once did I bail on Jesus. I always kind of knew I still had him. I always, because I knew who he was, and who he is to humanity, right? So, sorry, people keep texting. I don't know if it's messing my video up or what, but um, no, I just lots have happened, and so fast forward, right? Now the texting, you know. So fast forward, um, I ended up going to church the next day. Yeah, laying off the ground like that, and I went to church, and I asked the pastor. I was like, "Hey, do you know anybody that can help me? You know, maybe that there's somebody at church that has a place to stay, and it happened. I had my own two-bed. I had a job. I wasn't like not working and being like this humongous piece of crap. I've always, worked. At least tried to. With addiction, it's just not happening. You don't get up every day like that. But um, so much, man. So I asked the pastor. I ended up in a two-bedroom apartment, right? Because I still had Jesus. I didn't bail on Jesus. I guarantee you, if I bailed on Jesus, I wouldn't have found that two-bedroom apartment. So I started living there, and I was doing good, and ended up relapsing again. And I hanging out with the wrong crowd. I had my own two-bedroom apartment. I didn't even know how to handle it, and I was just too much. I ended up relapsing and becoming an addict again. And once you're in it, it's hard to get out of it. It really is. For me it was. And so I I was on probation, yeah, because I had caught in charges. Yeah, and so I started dating a girl, and let me tell you this: God put Nikki in my way, or in my life, to prove something, that you should definitely think about who you choose to be with. Um, she wrecked a whole lot. By the end of our relationship, our 4-year relationship, we split up. I left her in the middle of it, and by the end of 4 years, we ended up doing drugs together, and it was a mess. It was a mess. I got her, me, I did. I got her hooked on, and everybody has their own decision making skills, but me being around at that time and with an addiction it wasn't good. You know, People wanted to become and do with me and do it with me and stuff. It's just, it's a lot. And, anyways, Nikki, by the end of it, she ended up leaving me for my boss. Yeah. And she ended up going to jail as well. And she was an alcoholic when I first started dating her, but I got her clean off of alcohol. We were doing the sober thing for a while, and then I don't know, she just couldn't stand me because I relapsed one time, and I was in the bathroom for like 3 hours laying on the floor, like when she was at work. And the the guy we were renting from at the Outer Bank on the Outer Banks. Um, he told her, and she come in there. I was in the bed, and this is nighttime, and yeah, I was passed out. I woke up off the bathroom floor and went to bed, and she come in there and punched me so hard in the eye while I was sleeping. Oh man. But no, she really did. She really gosh, she did me wrong, man. And it's not like I it's not me the only one that's making the bad decisions. You know, there's another person. When you're in a relationship, it's a two-way street. It's not just a person that's messing up that's ruining everything. It's a two-way street. And I get that I was an addict, but she always thought I was trying to cheat on her anyway, and she was messed up anyway. So whatever. I have completely forgiven her. I don't talk to her anymore. I haven't talked to her in years, but um, yeah. So I hope she thinks that. I hope she forgives me as well. You know, and just so we can move on. You know, and I did. I forgave her. It's a different day. It really is. I'm just telling you the story is all. I've completely forgotten about her. It was a horrible, horrible situation because when she left me for my boss, right, I had to find a new job because I'm not going to stay around for the Nikki and Mac show, right? I had to find a new place of work. I had to actually find a new location to stay because the place that we were staying at, he just won't having me there without Nikki because he was old creep. So I had to find a new place to stay. And I gotta find a new job, find a new place to stay, and I lost my girlfriend all in one day. Yeah, that one, I am not gonna lie. That one, that one made, that one hurt. Yeah, because I didn't think that humans were capable of that kind of level of just betrayal, man. And so, uh, also, just to let you know that these teeth, they're not my real teeth. All right, they're dentures. So if you're wondering if, dang it, his teeth are perfect. They're not teeth. Me doing drugs, I I really did a number on my teeth, you know, and they just, they just, by the end of it, there was one tooth in the front that was like polished. Nothing was wrong with it. Didn't have any cavities or anything, but every single other tooth was gone. When you're locked up, getting teeth pulled is cheap. It's like $20 a tooth. So I got like 8 of them pulled. Oh man, I've been into so many jails as well. I'm talking probably about, what is it, Chesapeake, Portsmouth, Outer Banks, Elizabeth City, and I think that's it. I think it's all the jails I've been in. But been locked up numerous times, more than you would think, you know? It's been a long run. I caught some charges. If you were to look up my background and history, my goodness, you would see a list, son. You would see a list. Anyways, so when I bailed, when I kind of wasn't ready for Jesus, man, I wrecked my life tenfold. I kid you not, I wrecked my life tenfold. Yep. Because when I wasn't ready, it was almost like, okay, you're not, it was almost like Jesus said, okay, you're not ready? All right, we're going to make them ready then. Send in the angels. So, I just wrecked, man. I wrecked. I got my My mom is a different story entirely. Yep. My mom is a different story entirely. My mom was a teacher, and growing up, and she was an English teacher. So I know English very well. I just can't speak English very well. I know it very well. I actually pick words apart, and sometimes I'll put them back together, and it's just like it's crazy how much I know English. That yeah. Anyways, mom was an English teacher. Well, here's the story in a short term of my mom. My mom used to get bad headaches, terrible migraines, and me coming home with a pocket full of painkillers. I just felt so bad. I kept doing it, walking by her, like, I can't do this to my mom. Of course, John calls.